Just 16 months ago, it seemed that Rangers had fully returned to their former glory. The previous season, they'd gone unbeaten on their way to an historic 55th league title, their first in a decade, and after the departure of manager Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa, replacement Giovanni Van Bronckhorst built further, securing the club its first Scottish Cup since 2009 and guiding them to the Europa League final, where they lost on penalties to a strong Eintracht Frankfurt, having beaten Borussia Dortmund, Braga and RB Leipzig to get there. But since that night in Seville, fortunes have changed on the blue side of Glasgow. Van Bronckhorst was dismissed following a poor start to the following season, and while successor Michael Beale, who had previously been assistant manager during Gerrard's tenure, improved performances in the second half of the campaign, a nightmare start to the 23-24 season has seen the Englishman relieved of his duties just 7 games in. In the words of Joshua Barries, editor of Rangers Review, hope had been drained out of Ibrox, with the Gers already 7 points behind Celtic in the table, looking on course to miss out on the title once again. So what has gone wrong at Rangers? On today's FD Explained, we aim to find out. The general conversation surrounding Michael Beale's departure from Rangers has centred heavily on the failure of the club's summer signings to hit the ground running, and while it's a tall order to expect new recruits to gel seamlessly in the first 2 months, there is also little room for error at a club which is expected to finish at least runner-up in every domestic competition and compete in Europe. Not to mention the fact they had lost just 7 league games across the 3 seasons before this. The fact they have lost 3 games already in 23-24 points to a swift and severe regression in performance, and this has undoubtedly been influenced by the club's recent business. Cyril Dessert, the club's second most lucrative purchase of the summer at €5 million, has quickly become a target for fans following a string of disappointing performances. Sam Lammers, meanwhile, was signed for £3.5 million despite his only outstanding top-flight season coming at Heerenveen back in 2018-19, a player who scored just twice in almost 2,000 minutes last term across loan spells at Serie A strugglers Empoli and Sampdoria. Danilo, signed from Feyenoord for €6.5 million, and Abdullah Sima, on loan from Brighton, have scored twice each, with Sima notching up another 3 in Europe. But they've been given just 4 league starts between them, with Danilo out injured since mid-September, while goalkeeper Jack Butland is the only new player deemed to have been a categorical success so far. However, Beale was never going to be able to rely solely on his summer signings to power the start of Rangers' season, and the scale of their summer departures is a far bigger cause for concern. Of the 5 players to hit double figures for goals in the Scottish Premiership last year, only right-back James Tavernier is still at the club, and half of his 16 strikes came from the penalty spot. Bayern Munich loanee Malik Tillman is now at PSV Eindhoven, Fashion Sakala was sold to Saudi Pro League outfit Al Fayha, Antonio Mirko Kolak was sold to Parma in Serie B, and Alfredo Morelos, who scored 124 goals across 6 seasons at Ibrox, left at the end of his contract before signing with Brazilian giant Santos. Between them, they scored over half of the side's 93 league goals last term. Expecting a forward line made up of almost entirely new players to replicate or improve on that is a tall order. This kind of naivety in the transfer market would normally be put at the door of a sporting director, but since Ross Wilson left Rangers in April, that position has been vacant, with Michael Beale largely in charge of recruitment over the summer. And it seemed pretty clear that the manager was particularly keen to reshape the squad. Beale was critical of Morelos towards the end of the campaign and also made no secret of the pivotal role he played in the club's most recent round of recruitment. Ryan Kent, who made over 200 appearances for the Teddy Bears and was crucial to their 2021 title success, was also let go. As with Morelos, he was not offered a new contract by the club. The confidence Beale displayed in letting so many key players leave was always going to backfire if the side didn't start the new season well. But while his confidence to lead Rangers' rebuild was perhaps misplaced, the club's inability to replace sporting director Ross Wilson was even more naive. Wilson joined in 2019 and arrived with pedigree, having lured Virgil van Dijk, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ralph Hasenhüttl to Southampton during his time at St Mary's. He then oversaw the 2 transfer windows which helped propel Rangers to title glory in 2021, as well as setting up the club for a big profit in the future with the free signing of Calvin Bassey from Leicester. Wilson left Ibrox to take up the sporting director role at Nottingham Forest, where an abundance of funds allowed him to get deals done for talents like Anthony Elanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Nicolas Dominguez and even Ibrahim Songare. So it's perhaps no wonder he left Rangers, who were put on UEFA's financial fair play watchlist in 2022, with the club consistently racking up financial losses in the transfer market as they bid for a return to domestic glory, and without Premier League television money. By the time he left, the Scottish Giants had already been making moves to curb threats of FFP sanctions. Unlike the 4 seasons leading up to their title win, where they racked up a net spend of €36.5 million, the 2 seasons afterwards saw them make a profit of €26.1 million, with future star Nathan Patterson sold to Everton for €14 million and Calvin Bassey moving to Ajax for €23 million. Arguably their biggest departure though was Joe Aribo, whose versatility, tenacity and skill in the centre of the park was crucial to the side's title triumph and subsequent run to the Europa League final. As fans grew increasingly frustrated at the start of the 23-24 season, with Graham McGarry writing in Scottish publication The National that toxicity around the club has been at the worst levels in living memory, a lack of guile and desire has been noted in the side's performances, the kind of qualities Aribo typified during his time in Glasgow. During a period in which rivals Celtic rediscovered their edge in the transfer market under Ange Postecoglou, whose experience of managing in Japan helped the club identify undervalued talents from the J-League, Rangers have been unable to evolve. The result is that they have no permanent manager, no sporting director, and the 3rd oldest team in Scotland. Meanwhile, Celtic have been able to replace Postecoglou with a coach who is both familiar with the club and a good stylistic successor in Brendan Rodgers, and possess the 3rd youngest side in the division. Not only are Rangers as far behind their old firm rivals as they have been in years, but it's difficult to see when they will start catching up again. So that was our take on Rangers' current struggles, but can you see them catching up with Celtic this season or next? Let us know in the comments below. And if there are any other clubs in trouble that you'd like to see us profile, let us know too. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Football Daily and click on screen right now for some more great content. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.